right, there you go, AC.
Thank you. Let's welcome again. Just kidding. Science, Playful Culture. I would love to see in the chat again because I can't see your faces anymore. If you had a gift certificate to a bookstore, what nonfiction book would you buy? Could just be the topic too. You don't have to know like the name and ISBN. If you do, share it, go for it. But you know, all that. And also feel free, of course, to share where you're from. I'd love to hear it. Oh, Big Magic is so good, Jesse. You guys know the names. I'm so impressed.
That's on my, it's
Sarah,
in the cart.
we'll miss you, Sarah, but it's being recorded. It's all good. Nicole, same. But what about a nonfiction book? I'm hearing very good things about Let Them. Is that Jennifer? Yes, Nicole. That's everybody's
Sorry about
first.
that. Yeah, I
That's
read that
quite
wrong.
all right. Totally got it. We're like, I have to tell you about this book. Kara, I know, right? Also, hi, Kara. Gift cards for everyone. Hamilton, Ontario. Oh, so is everybody writing the, yes, Becky, right? We're like bookmarking all of these, but it's being recorded, so we'll have access. We can always throw these together. Jesse's definitely obsessed with the art of gathering. I know it. She's learning from the
For sure.
genius
I'm in
herself.
previous class right now. It's been awesome.
It's so cool. So cool. Yes. Y'all is for all. Y'all means all. Thanks, friends. This is wonderful. Jessie gets to do stand-up whenever she wants. Chris.
Oh my gosh, that was
That might be a lot of pressure for her, but
yeah. All I have is my 1 minute ready to go. That's all I have.
You guys, I just found your faces. Oh, that makes me excited. Oh, yes, we can, Tala. Taylor, how do you say your name, friend?
Yeah, Tala. You said it right the first. We're all good.
Oh, but I'd rather you say it.
Oh,
your voice is amazing.
thank you.
Thanks for sharing. All right. I love books. Seems like maybe you guys are down for that too. I would like to start today by honoring the land where I'm calling in from. I want to acknowledge the people that lived here before me. They are the Oceti Shikoe, the Lipan Apache, the Ute, and the Cheyenne peoples. And I honor the past and present and future generations of those people who lived, worked, and cared for this land, making it what I am able to live on today. And I also acknowledge the lasting impact of colonization. This QR code here will actually take you to a website where you can find your own the lands that you happen to be on.
I'm so glad that you added that. That's so cool.
It's a really neat website. There's some really cool information on it if you haven't seen it before. I love it. Real quick community definition for those of you. Is anyone a first timer at a Culture First gathering? I know a lot of you are not. We've got chapter leads in the house. Karen is, but Karen's heard me wax poetic about it forever. I'm glad you were free, Karen. Look at all these newbies. Love.
We should break out a song. Do we have a welcome song?
Well, Jesse, I know what's on your to-do list today to compose that, please and thanks. But our community here is the Culture First community, and we are a part of a company called Culture Amp, but we are a place where global people leaders and change agents, all of you, and me and Jesse, where we come together to be inspired by our peers, to ideate, to share best practices, create a better world of work. It's that simple. Because we're a group of people around the world, united in the shared belief that a better world of work is possible. It's true. We do not have to live with what we've been living with. And we're all here
about it.
Yes.
Do you want me to take this next one?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, welcome to the folks. If it's your first time to the Culture First community, welcome back to the many of the squad that I've seen and before. So it's great to have you here. This community is supported by Culture Amp, but the community at every gathering, we talk about how it's a place for us to share ideas and best practices. And we ask that you embody these 5 core principles. And so the first one's around fostering belonging and acceptance. This idea of like, we want people to feel seen, valued, and appreciated for just showing up and being themselves, especially in this world of polarity. Like, we want to invite respectful discord, and that's what we're all about. The second one is being willing to reflect and grow. If we're on this giant mission to transform the future of work, that goes back to our organizations doing the work, but ultimately that starts with us being the change we want to see in the world and being willing to turn that mirror around and saying, what can I do? How can I have an impact here? The third core principle we ask you to embody today is have the courage to be vulnerable. This idea of we're constantly wearing masks and there's like just lots of layers to who we are. We have lots of ways of identifying and labeling ourselves. And if we're able to own those labels and be more of our real selves and our authentic selves, it gives other people permission to do the same so we can create more trust and psychological safety on this journey together. The fourth core principle is that at every one of our Culture First gatherings, we aspire for you to put your learning into action. So like what AC was saying, we believe a better world of work is possible. And I always like to say we're willing to do something about it. So we don't want this information to just be consumed in one ear, out the other. We want you to actually apply what you learned today to the way that you live or to the way that you work, so we can continue to see the ripple effects of this community. And then the fifth core principle is connection inside, business outside. Probably one of my favorite principles that makes this community really special, which is that in the container of a Culture First gathering, we ask that you connect on the inside first as a human being. And if that leads to you all doing business outside of the gathering, that's cool. That would be awesome for that to happen. But like hardcore sales and hardcore networking and trying to get people to sign up for demos and get jobs is like not the primary purpose of this gathering. So there you have it. Can I have like a little thumbs up if you all feel like you can agree to these principles for the next however long we have together? Amazing. If we haven't met, my name's Jessie Jacob. I am a senior community manager here at Culture Amp and oversee our global chapters program. And super excited to introduce AC Holmes today, who's running our session. I hope this is the appropriate time to introduce you, AC, in the, okay, great, fantastic, love that. AC has been a longstanding community member. She is a extremely active member in the People Geek Slack community, if you're not already in there. She runs the Denver chapter, so one of our chapter leads, and is now on a contract with us at Culture Amp as a community manager, helping oversee the People Geek space. Yes, yes, yes. Lots of this. Keeping the show going in our People Geek Slack community. So if you want to spend even more time with her, definitely would recommend you join us in there. And so AC Holmes is the founder of Boardless. She's all about transforming the workplace through play and flow. She has a background in speech language pathology, neuroscience, and education. She's able to translate really complex ideas into very engaging, actionable strategies that can help us boost creativity, collaboration, and psychological safety. She is a TEDx and Disrupt HR speaker, and her work empowers teams to work with more purpose, flexibility, and trust, leading to happier, more innovative, and high-performing workplaces. So super excited to hand it off to AC to lead us through the science of a playful culture. So can we give a little round of applause as we hand it off to AC, please? Yes, yes. I love this, Rona. I'm like going to start doing this more often. That's a hoot and a half.
Many
All right.
Round. I love it. It's my favorite thing. For those of you that know me are not shocked, we're starting with play. So grab something to write with and something to write on. Nicole. Some people have done this before. If you're watching the chat, there's a spoiler. So I'm going to ask you to literally just scribble. Just a scribble. We do not have to overthink this. It can be curvy. It can be straight. 3 seconds. Not long. Not just 1 second. Don't go 3. And I would also highly recommend, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
You all are brilliant. Please continue. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I could have never even imagined. Thank you all, but you can do it anywhere you want. Okay. Oh, try not to cover up somebody else's though, if you can. I'm obsessed with this. I love this so much. Oh, I wish there was a way I could add a blank slide. Jesse, if you can think of a way to do it fast. Okay, so now, good, yay, you've all scribbled. Now what you're gonna do is take a moment and look at your scribble and find a place to put an eye, a tiny little eye, like not the letter, but your thing you look out of, and a beak and 2 little feet. But here's the sad part, I have to switch slides. So you are gonna have to, that brings me so much joy that I can't even stand it. Next time we'll do this on a Miro board. So, oh, that stays, even better, fantastic. Look at the little eyes. Oh, this is so wonderful, and I can all see them. And you've created a little bird. Look at your adorable birds. I would look at the like puffy one at the top. They just added hair.
Amazing.
So fantastic. Someone please make sure we get a screenshot specifically of this.
Gotcha.
Joy explosion, scribble birds everywhere. I feel like someone made an eyeball and I love it too. Do you guys see that down there? Do y'all know what that is? Anyway, obsessed. Thank you all for playing. Please feel free to continue to create scribble birds at your desk throughout your situation. Maybe, I think I know how to do this.
So
we're going to clear them all, say goodbye.
David, if you, for folks who were like, oh, how the flock are you doing this? That was, that was funny. If you didn't, I love that this group was just like innovating on the fly.
Like, let's go. This is happening.
How that happened is in the bottom left-hand screen of your Zoom, though, for if you didn't see that, there, right above the mute, there's like a little pen, like icon, and you can annotate on the actual screen. Fun fact. So anyway, there we are. Good facilitators. A plan. Great facilitators are willing to throw out the plan and just go where the group needs to go. And look at us.
Jesse knows this seems to happen to me every time I facilitate. Not really every time. Most of them though. Bye birds, I'm so sorry. That was kind of tragic for me to click that button. I just know that. Please just know that. But we got to talk about our talk today, right? We got to get into it. Unfortunately, raise of hands, show of hands, reaction with whatever. Anybody feel a little burnout? And if you're not, do you know someone that is? Yeah, it's pretty common, right? I mean, I think we all know what it is. I don't really need to define it for you. One thing I want to point out is that what we usually think of when we're talking about burnout is the overload burnout. It's too much. We have too much going on. But there's also under-challenged burnout when we are maybe working just a really nice, healthy amount. But whatever it is that we're doing is not fulfilling us as a person at our core. And then there's also neglect burnout, where we are neglecting ourselves, neglecting who we are at the core of our being, neglecting what's actually really important to us. So burnout, it's there. That was a lot of hands. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see each other's faces as well, but it was quite a few hands. No one's shocked by that. So we're at the point now where we shouldn't just be asking, okay, how do we fix it, right? We shouldn't be the person asking this question for ourselves. We need to be asking what's missing in the system, in the way that we work, that is leading to all of this burnout in the first place. And when we start to ask that question, we realize, I'm still annotating. Let's not do that. There we go. We start to realize that what we're missing is play. It is in fact play. It's something that most of us think we've been taught to see as extra, but it is not. It is one of the most effective ways to counter that burnout. Also do a few other cool things like boost engagement and improve creativity and just feel better and overall improve how we work. But generally, sorry, what? Play? Are you serious right now? Not a lot of people really think of play as a workplace strategy. Most folks are thinking of it as something we do with our kids or for our kids, or they should be doing it, or with our pets maybe. And play in the office? Waste of time. Little bit of Lexi. That's right, Morgan. She's the best. And even if you are one of those very lucky people who don't feel like they are deep in burnout, how long is your to-do list? Even if you feel like it's manageable, it's full, right? Where are we putting this play? Where is this time, this magic time where we can add play? Well, let's pretend now, shall we? Let's play a little more. And I'm going to walk us through an exercise where we can start to think about what play might be for you. This is a magic hour. Doesn't my hourglass look so magical? I have officially turned into your fairy godmother, and I am here to grant you an extra hour in your day. In this hour, you have no responsibilities. That's right. This is hard to grasp. None. You are responsible for literally nothing else and no one else. You cannot run errands. You cannot take care of someone else. You cannot take care of something else. You can only focus on yourself for the next hour. And because I am your fairy godmother, I can grant you the ability to be anywhere in the world or universe with any equipment or gear that you might need. So remembering that there are no trips to the post office here, we are not going to the gym. In fact, you slept better than you've ever slept last night, and then even had a really good little power nap just now. And you don't feel groggy, you feel like perfectly energized, and you also just ate your favorite meal and you're perfectly satisfied, and you already worked out today anyway. So let's share what we would do in our magic hour. So if anyone is familiar with Mentimeter, that's what this is. If you scan the QR code, it'll take you right to a screen where you can type right in. Oh, no, it won't. It's going to take you to the next one, hopefully.
There you go. Now it's on.
All right, there we're going.
Yeah.
What you would do with your magic hour. And if you don't want to use your phone or get it out, you can go to mentimeter.com and put in this code. There's like a light blue banner at the top where you would just enter that code 3603-8785. There they come. It's happening. Laundry. That's a chore, my friends. Laundry is a chore. There's no laundry to be done. It's all done. Your kids are actually with someone else. They're with their best friends. They're at a sleepaway, something. You already worked out today. Are you going to work out again? Things to think through. What would we do with this magic hour? I'm trying to move it so I can see them. Oh, a puzzle. If someone that wrote puzzle wants to share, what kind of puzzle? Just because I love puzzles. I can't promise you all.
Oh,
yes.
It was.
Go ahead.
Sorry, did you mean to write in the chat what puzzle I'm doing or come off of mute?
Either. I want to hear it from you.
Well, I'm from London in the UK, but I currently live in Toronto. So I'm currently doing one of the skyline of London, which reminds me of home. Yeah.
So a jigsaw puzzle.
Yes, a jigsaw puzzle.
Love.
Yes.
Love this. Fantastic. So this is supposed to show the bigger words are things that are repeated, right? Like a classic.
AC.
Go ahead. Yes.
You got to switch us over to your Mentimeter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you, Jessie.
Yeah, boo.
Thank you.
So can you just ask me this every morning? Like, can you wake up the best sleep of your night?
I know. It would be amazing. All right, everybody ready to see everybody else's? There they are. There we go. Okay, we started to get a little more specific. Love this. If you want to change it, you can add another one. We've got Build Legos. We've got a Teddy Swims concert. Watercolor artist date. Yes, please. Run through a field. I'm just envisioning myself. It's near Frolic too on my screen. Did you guys see that one reel that was going around for a while? It's like grown men were and they were like, I'm frolicking. And they were literally just running through a field. It's fantastic. Board games, Chris, you see? Fantastic. My little thing. Scuba. Boom. This is where we're thinking, people. So if I were doing this exercise, I would be doing, I would ski the Alps. Jessie, I'd love to hear yours if you've thought of one. And if you haven't thought of one,
I read mine. I would be at the Teddy Swims concert. I'd be hanging at the beach in Fiji, and the other thing I had was brunch with friends.
Fantastic. And it is a magic hour, so maybe all of those things fit in 1 hour, actually.
Definitely.
Our magic free hour. So fantastic. We're gonna pop back into the thing there. So what you all wrote is probably play. Now, some of you are going, yeah, they said board games. No thanks. But if you look at my lovely functional definition of play here on your screen, you will see that the first thing is that play is personal. That list of items is so wildly different. I mean, hammock reading versus building Legos, those two things are very, very different. And some person might enjoy both of them, but there are some people who are like, no to one or the other, because play is completely personal. This definition that I've created here came from my research of scientists and psychologists and university professors who are doing actual scientific research currently on playfulness for adults. But it turns out they can't agree on just one definition. So I had to sort of make one with their overlaps of what play is. And like I said, it starts with the fact that it's personal. It also brings us joy and it's beneficial. And we're going to talk about the neuroscience behind that in just a moment. One aspect of play is that it has to be optional. So you have to want to do it. Forced fun is never fun. Shall we say that together? Forced fun
is
never
fun.
fun for literally anyone. So find some aspect of the activity that is optional. Now, when I'm working with internal teams, yes, we are talking about work being playful. We're going to talk about that in a moment too. So maybe the activity itself is not optional. It might be required. We don't have to use the word force there, but it might be required. But what can we find that is optional for us? Can we talk about where we do it, or who we do it with, or when we do it, or how we do it, or why we do it? That one is usually the one that we can dig into with the most control. Play also has to be seemingly purposeless. There is a lot of play that has some really amazing outcomes and rewards, actual external rewards, but that can't be the reason we're playing. So the play has to be play for the sake of the play itself. It also has to be actively engaging. That doesn't have to mean physically engaging. It can be cognitively or mentally engaging. And it needs to be intrinsically motivating. So kind of linked to seemingly purposeless, like we're not doing this because of external rewards, but intrinsic doesn't like equal internal versus external. Intrinsic actually starts to speak to who we are at the core of our being. And sometimes we might not be able to articulate that, like this play means something to me in my soul because XYZ, but it will be there. And then play has to be iterative. It's about exploration and adaptation. We are going to be able to change it at least a little bit. We're going to try, adjust, try again. It's like innovation, right? Now I have floating down here at the bottom, you might have noticed it doesn't have an octopus arm. It's socially interactive. Play can be socially interactive. There's a lot of people who that might be a very key piece of it. But there are also a lot of people who that would completely change the dynamic for them, and they would not enjoy it as much or feel like it was optional for them. So it can be social, but it does not have to be. Now, once we find what fills in this blank, maybe it is the thing that you wrote down in the magic hour, but do you see what I'm talking about? Laundry doesn't go here. I mean, let me not make that statement so strongly. Maybe you enjoy laundry and we should talk later, but maybe you do. That's fine. But whatever you find that can fill in this blank that you know is personal for you, that's easy to determine. Someone else, someone else that might not enjoy it. Does it bring you joy? Is it beneficial? Is it optional? Just run through those quick 8s, just like a checklist kind of situation. And when you've got the thing, hopefully starting eventually to be a list of things that meet these characteristics, then you can literally change the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you work. Because this play once we find that play is actually biochemical. So when we enter this playful state, our brains release these neurochemicals. And these are some of the most powerful neurochemicals that we can get, right? Some of them we know sort of already, like dopamine's the brain's reward chemical, right? Serotonin's a mood stabilizer. Anandamide is now being called the bliss molecule. And it starts to help us think in new ways, but also make us feel blissful. Norepinephrine has a couple roles. It's like it plays a hand in motivation and also regulating our reactions to stress and our levels of stress. Endorphins, right? Some people, that's the runner's high aspect. We know of that through that. Has anyone here ever experienced the runner's high? A show of hands? Yeah. Does anyone here think they're lying to your face and that they made it up to sell running shoes? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some people do. See, runner's high is a myth. Like, that is because play is personal, friends. Running for you does not bring you endorphins because it's not play for you. And that's okay. You're going to get endorphins another way. BDNF here at the end of our list, brain-derived neurotropic factors. It's essentially brain fertilizer. Brain-derived neurotropic factors are what feeds our brain cells, strengthens our neurons, helps us create neuronal pathways, and kick starts synapses. Neuroscience words abound, but the best way, the literal best way to release brain-derived neurotropic factors and all of these other neurochemicals is to play, even as adults. And when we release these neurochemicals, we start to see benefits across cognitive areas, physical and mental well-being. Because yes, play can be fun sometimes. It can be relaxing sometimes, but it also strengthens critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and collaboration. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find a leader in any workplace that said, no, we don't really need any of that. We're good. Those are pretty highly sought after skills these days. Physically, obviously, if we are doing a physical type of play, we could potentially boost our cardiovascular function, increase our mobility, our energy. We can balance our sleep patterns. And mentally, because of those neurochemicals we get, we can reduce stress, experience joy, increase our openness to new ideas, and build resilience. I also forgot to share with you all why I'm flashing these around, and I hope that the clicky clacking is far enough away. I am neurodivergent. I usually disclose this in the beginning. I am neurodivergent. I have ADHD. If you are also neurodivergent, I invite you to be your most neurodivergent self in whatever way that means possible. A lot of you have your cameras off. Power to you. I'm happy for it. You do what you need to do. If you need to stand up and sort of spin or sway a little bit, you do that too. Whatever you'd like to do. But I just noticed that I hadn't talked about these. But these are all of our benefits when we are playing. I mean, these are pretty great benefits. Like, who's like, I'm good. Like, oh, sure, I'll take some critical thinking, but I don't really need the creativity, right? No, thank you. And also, we get all of these. So when we bring all of them together, play has now turned into a performance enhancer, a literal in-the-moment stress reliever, an innovation booster. It's so powerful. But it's not around. We do not see it in work. But the research exists, and it's starting to be talked about quite a bit in sort of mainstream setting, like Forbes, NPR, HBR, every once in a while, Brene Brown, Glennon Doyle, these people are starting to talk about play. And the journal articles are there, scientifically validated findings. The white papers exist. If you Google playful work design, it is a thing that will give you scientific research before my website. And I'm cool with that. But we don't have it because who's worked in an office like this? This is what our workplaces look like. They are not designed to allow play to happen. Yes, Office Space, the movie. So unfortunately, wildly realistic, even today. I don't really like to think about how old the movie is. We don't need to do that kind of math today. But through my research, digging into all of this, I identified 4 key conditions that I want to help spread into our workplaces. You could call them pillars, you can call them key areas, condition, whatever you want to call them. But I turned them into a little framework called the Ignite framework. If you all would like to doodle through this, I would highly recommend it. That's why I made icons to go with them. So as we talk through each one, you could doodle a little tree or the door or a bridge or a compass. Or you could just doodle the letter that we're moving through. So we're going to start with I. You could practice writing I in cursive. When's the last time you wrote a capital I in cursive, right? It might have been a while. So, or just do a bubble letter maybe. Also, you guys are doing it on the screen. Oh, I can't with this.
Okay, that was
the
me.
best. I love it. Keep it up. Bring it on. Although, actually, can I ask you all not to? Because if I were watching this, my ADHD would be going crazy. So maybe let's not. But I love the energy and the behind it. Okay, thank you. So we are going to include all, which I just tried to do it, and I hope that it was effective. But we're going to cultivate an inclusive culture where all voices are heard and valued. We're going to grant flexibility by creating a flexible environment where employees have autonomy in how they work. Trust teams, building psychologically safe teams where trust allows for open communication and risk-taking. We're going to navigate purpose, align our tasks and routines with our mission-driven work, giving our meaning to every day. And we're going to engage all of this through play. We're going to use the play as the energy that fuels the creativity, the collaboration, and the engagement in each of these pillars. Now, a framework, that's like, frameworks are cool, right? That's what you have to create to tell somebody, help them learn how to do something. Usually it's like, that's it, folks, enjoy your framework. No, that's not what we're doing here today. We're going through specifics for what we can do to put each of these into place. Jesse, do you mind clearing the drawings for me, even though I do love them?
How do I?
So here are 3 specific playful strategies for building an inclusive culture. Specific things that you can start tomorrow. Reverse brainstorming. Some of my favorite play at work people, the Fundamentum guys, call this worst first, and it's so great. So you've got a problem. You know that you need to have a brainstorming session with your team. Instead of saying, okay, everybody, best idea right now. How do we solve this problem? What if somebody had that answer, you wouldn't be having a meeting, right? So let's start with, how can we make it worse? What are your worst possible ideas for this problem? Write them down, say them out loud, draw pictures of them, whatever it might be. But come up with the most terrible ideas, things you would absolutely really never consider in real life. Maybe use pencils and very erasable things. You don't want this like documented for forever. But how do you make the problem worse? That's what you're starting with. It removes the pressure. It gets people thinking a little bit more easily. And a lot of the time, you just end up laughing, right? You're just like, wow, these are really ridiculous. Good job being ridiculous. But every once in a while, you start to go, wait. Half of Sarah's really terrible idea with that second part of Jesse's horrible idea. Does this make sense? And you have you come up with an answer. So, Nicole, I might start calling it dumpster fire brainstorming. This is kind of fantastic. Also love the name. Another option for creating an inclusive culture is to consider something like a silent meeting. So introverts abound. My friend Janice Shaka speaks wonderfully about this very important topic, how to make sure that your introverts are contributing, because trust me, they have really amazing ideas. So you could consider having the meeting itself happen within the collaborative document or virtual whiteboard. It could be before you all start speaking. It could be the whole meeting, depends on your team, right? Talk to them about what might work. But this just levels things so that we're not worried about our introverts who are just not comfortable with their actual voice in the meeting. And then our neurodivergents who are either potentially me and speaking to myself here, oversharing too much, coming up with too many ideas, not able to put the idea in the moment in a cohesive bubble, right? So we're able to work it out with everyone on that together. Another option for inclusive culture is role reversal. So yes, I hear your idea. Now tell me what's wrong with it. Or tell me what someone might ask. What questions should we be asking? And this is not for a shaming situation, right? But we're just getting ourselves to look inward. And maybe this is something that we all do at the same time, so people aren't singled out. But it's just a flipping of perspective anytime we have this idea. So those are 3 simple ideas to get us started for inclusive cultures. Moving on to flexible environments. Work your way hours. This is super easy. Block out and allow your team to block out deep work or creative play time. There's this company that I've really come to respect and starting to get to know quite well that does a fantastic job of this. I am now working with people who have these blocks on their calendars, and they're saying, go book a meeting with me. Her name's Jessie. You know her too. And I'm going, well, I'm free. Oh, it's DNB. That's what it says. Do not book or request. I think it's something very kind, like ask before booking. Ask before booking. But I love it. And I'm seeing it happen in other people's calendars as well. And it's really fantastic. And not assigning this, right? Not everyone have deep work at 10 a.m. because the concept of power hours and when you work best, and maybe that's at 5 a.m., maybe it's at 6 p.m., whatever it is, just knowing that this should be allowed. A moving target, this can be a personal one, just changing your physical location if possible, or just a position. So standing desks are getting they're having their heyday still now for a while because it's good for your body physically, but also it's really good for your mind. Just that simple shift. If you've got a monitor that you can move, even sometimes just turn around, sit in a different room. Coffee shops obviously are fantastic, that sort of thing. But if you've not experienced it and you do feel tied to your desk and then you try it and you go, whoa, my focus changed, my attention changed, my energy and mood for my motivation changed, like just with that simple shift. A wrong answer is only Slack channel or Teams, whatever, for companies that use Teams. And I don't, so I don't actually know what to call any of it. But some sort of thread, communication hub, where you're just allowing people to be like, listen to this ridiculous thing I thought of and share it. Even if it could be a bad idea, it could be a silly idea, it could be a funny version of something that's actually happening. You can prompt these with an image and do like the traditional social media where you put an image and you're like, make this caption, but it has to be wrong, right? So, we've got an image of Jessie and me sitting there and there's wrong answers only. And it's like Travis and Jason on their New Heights podcast, right? Like we're not Travis and Jason, but just wrong answers only. That's the point. For mission-driven work, some ideas, starting with a mission moment. So bringing your meeting together and introducing, and when you're hopefully going over that agenda that you have, right? That's been shared beforehand. Start with a story of how your team's recent work made a difference. So this is not talking about what revenue goal did you meet or who had the most sales. There are places to share those successes and wins, absolutely. But we're going to talk about, like, sure, we met that revenue goal, but what does that mean? What kind of difference did that make? What department now has funding that gets to do extra cool work? Or what was the customer able to do because of this new feature that we sold them, and made that customer then made a difference with their company in the world? Sharing those stories of how we make a difference, not just the success on paper. Purpose mapping, letting employees connect daily tasks, routines, the boring stuff, the spreadsheets, the entering the information into the CRM, the things that people would really rather skip over. But obviously we have to do. They are required. The business wouldn't run without them. So how can we tie those specific things into our mission and then find a way to make it visual? Maybe you hire Kara Williams and she graphics it up on a board. You find somebody to do the, I think it's called graphic facilitation. I might have just made that up. It's something. Kara's giving a heart. Maybe that's what it is. But you figure out a way, have your team work together to create a mural of what the mission is. And then you can use the pieces of the mission in the mural. Like, so yesterday, this was what I worked on for 2 hours and it was really boring, but gosh, that furthered this piece of our goal, right? And then gamified progress tracking is an option. We don't have time to go into it today, but in general, at face value, I'm not a huge fan of gamification, but it can be done correctly. So if you are a team who's researching it well and really making it intentional, then it can be done well. So considering playful trackers instead of your how many KPIs did you meet in a random spreadsheet, thinking about how to make that progress visible and visual for the people that are doing it, not for comparison's sake, just for a perspective flip and shift again. And then rewarding in your own company's way. Next, final pillar, psychologically safe teams. We need to trust each other, really, no matter what the work is. Any team will work better when they trust each other, when competition is removed, when concern for judgment, concern for shame, concern for repercussions, when that's removed, the work that gets done, this is what we want. This is what we want. It will change the future of our world. So some ideas, you can start with a failure celebration. I literally saw this in action. This is something I've recommended. I do a workshop called the Failure Awards, and we work through that with internal teams and they share with each other. But I saw this happen in a stand-up here at Culture Amp just last week. I don't remember really what they led with or what the order of it was, but all of a sudden someone was called up onto the screen and it was all of North America, tons of people. And they said, please share with us the story of how you lost that customer. And they did. And it was lovely. They talked about what went wrong and what happened because of it. And then there was a brief discussion of what we learned from it and what we can do going forward. But it was really wonderful to see that in action on that kind of level, because it's possible and it's powerful. Another thing that you can create is rituals, traditions within your team. They generally, when we're putting these together, a lot of companies have these. I would love to hear any in the chat if you've ever been a part of any of these before, but these can be certain icebreakers that you do together at the beginning of a meeting. It could be an activity, but it can also be everyone wears socks with images on them on Thursdays and puts the picture of those socks in the chat, or we all wear pink on Wednesdays, or whatever it is, that there's a tradition, there's a shared something. Maybe it's yesterday I was with a group ADHD, it's in the house. Yesterday I was with a group and we were talking about that I recently learned, I'm not going to say the word right, a blout reduplication is a thing. So it's the concept that like we would never say flop flip, we say flip flop, and we say flim flam and mish mash, like the way the vowels go in order, King Kong, ding dong. It's a very specific thing and it's just part of English and that's the way it is. And we agreed as a group that saying goodbye to each other, we were gonna now say dong ding. Completely like there's no, what does that mean? It means nothing. It serves really no purpose, but it's a community, it's a creator. We trust each other to say dong ding, right? Like we're just, it could be that pointless and that simple. And then creating idea safe zones. So actually have, one meeting every once in a while, whatever your cadence of it is it weekly, is it monthly, dedicate it to just coming with unfinished ideas. We're putting them all out on the table. This is something you thought of while you were working on something else. You're like, nah, this is probably not great. Just bring it. Everyone brings those ideas. Maybe you could put them in a Slack channel, have a thing where they just all live together. Because I think, as you all have probably seen happen, like the SFD and oh my gosh, what was I watching the other day? Oh, the Saturday Night Live documentary, not the 50th, but the documentary. Either Sherry O'Terry or Molly Shannon, somebody from that era, calls it a vomit draft. Just super gross. So if that's gross, maybe plug your ears for the next part, because then she said, so you vomit and then you pick out the corn. So gross. But anyway, so like, just know, but people need to hear those ideas, because when you start to let someone else's brain look at it, and also when you shelve it and come back to it, working together, you're like, wait, that there is something here. Like we have something here. What can this be? So those are 3 ideas. I scrambled through those, friends. I didn't really need to, I don't think, but I did. And that's where we are. So let's do some together here now. So it should be the same Mentimeter. And in theory, I've just clicked forward. And maybe you have a new prompt if you QR code or website it again. Jesse, how is it looking? Anyone? Is Mentimeter working? Ooh, fingers crossed.
Yes.
Tell us on her phone. Oh, fantastic. Everyone calls out. So our problem is good. Now you can see it. So our problem, HR and Peaceable Friends, we all work at the same company, and we are having a rash of vast absenteeism. Like people are they're calling out left and right. It's just started happening. What are our terrible ideas for fixing that, right? What would we never do to fix too much absenteeism? Mandatory fun. Who is that?
That was me.
Having people share their best call out sick day and just ignore everyone. Providing rocket ships. Said those. Celebrating the streaks. You missed. Just shut down. Call out the person. Just public shaming. Yeah. Send the sheriff to pick up everybody. Yeah, just take away the PTO. Yep, 15-minute stand-ups every hour. These are the things, obviously, that will get people back. You smell and make everyone miserable when you're here. So these are pretty hilarious to me. I hope you're enjoying them. And just looking at them, I've already found one that gives me a fantastic idea. Tell them, you smell and make everyone miserable, you're here. Obviously, we're not doing that. But maybe we should take some time and tell our people why we actually enjoy them being here or on Zoom or in the office or wherever you are, whatever it is. What value do they bring? Let's say that out loud, right? When people feel like they're going to be missed and they think, oh, they wish they had heard my ideas. They wish that I had been there. That could be a pretty powerful way to get people showing up to meetings to work. I personally think giving more PTO days is actually the way to do it. Letting people realize that they don't have to just call out and pretend that they're sick or just not show up, like that they can plan that and that we're going to work as a team together to make that okay. I'm down for that. Maybe let's not go to their houses for sure. Don't show up at somebody's door. Don't. But maybe if you do some kind, curious work and find out it's because they're sick or a family member's sick or whatever it is, they're having some health problems, maybe we do send them something to their house that would actually support them in their health. Like, I'm not sure I would have come up with those ideas in 45 seconds. if I was just thinking of the good ideas first, the best ideas. I enjoyed that. Does anyone, we're at a good place to like add some comments. Does anyone have a thought? You don't have to, of course. No one needs to feel pressured to share. The chat's popping off. It makes me excited. Love this. I'm back. I'm going to share that brain again. So that's one of our ways. And I really like that one because I think it actually kind of touches on more than just inclusive cultures. Like we end up finding ways to grant flexibility when we're having those kinds of conversations. We are building ways to trust each other. Sometimes you can find some purpose in there. And then depending on how you do it, you can make it more playful with color or drawing or that kind of thing. So thanks for doing that with me, you all. Because play isn't extra, friends. It is not extra. It's essential. So we talked a little bit about the neuroscience of what happens in our brains when we play. We talked about the neurochemicals that we get. And they like that science to me just seems so straightforward, related to the workplace or not. But still, adults, leaders, really anyone, even parents are like, no, the play is for the children. And I think it's important to talk about why that is, or at least my theory about why it is. And I believe it's because we were taught wrong for a very long time. In general, most of us think that our brains kind of stop developing around our mid-20s. Like we become adults, and it's based in science. So Jesse mentioned I was a speech pathologist before I started doing this work. So brain development, childhood brain development, language development, all that sort of stuff plays closely related. But the science, when I was in grad school and in undergrad, was teaching us that the last part of our brain to develop is the prefrontal cortex. And that once that was mature, that was you. That's you as an adult. Good luck with the rest of life because it's all downhill from here. There's nothing else to be done. Your prefrontal cortex is baked, fully baked. And if you're a little half-baked, then too bad. Nothing you can do about it because it's just the way our brains are. That it's like a up and down, right? Well, this is very wrong. The science is now discovering that that is not.
Oh no.
Go through the development process.
We lost you.
But it's not a downhill situation. The way those neurochemicals work, the brain-derived neurotropic factors, the dopamine and the serotonin and the endorphins, the norepinephrine, the way those work with each other, they don't go away. It's not like we deplete them as we age. We can get just as much of those neurochemicals as we did when we were little. They still exist. We can create new neurons. We can build new pathways. We can learn new things. We can learn new ways to do new things. And all of it is done through play. And we saw some of those benefits that we talked about before, the critical thinking, sometimes the cardiovascular function. But if we think about what else those neurochemicals do in our bodies, they also carry out some basic biological functions. So we need them to just be a human in a human's body as well. So play, to trigger those neurochemicals, is actually vital to being human. I think most of us have heard of like sleep deprivation, right? Yeah. Some of us have experienced it. Some of us are experiencing it. I hope not like in the moment. But yeah, that dehydration, right? That is water deprivation. Yeah. The way our body regulates temperature. These are processes of homeostasis. And our body as a human really wants to be in homeostasis. It wants to have the right amount of water, to our body size, and it wants to have the right amount of sleep for our age and health function. It wants to be the right temperature so that the internal organs can do the things that they need to do, right? Well, there is also such a thing as play deprivation. The body requires a certain level of play. And when we are in play deprivation, it can look like exhaustion. It can look like self-isolation. It can look like self-judgment, self-shame, tends towards depression. If you wrote those down, they would look pretty darn similar to the symptoms of burnout. Oh, yes, yes. Burnout, to me, is a direct result of play deprivation.
Wait,
Because as humans, yes.
I think we can only see play as extra, isn't extra, it's essential still.
That's the slide, it is. I know, I should have made a slide of those.
Oh, I thought you were still.
It's the right one.
Okay, sorry.
I know.
I got confused.
That's
I
okay.
got confused. My bad.
No, I would have made sense to have slide. Might have been helpful. But as humans, we should be required to play even as adults. Our brains are very efficient, right? So if you've ever been around a newborn, whether you've had one or not, have you ever held a newborn? Okay. You may have experienced what's called a rooting reflex. If you touch their cheek, they turn to it. You could touch it with your finger, the nipple of a bottle, your elbow, a soft feather, whatever it is. If it touches their cheek, that baby is going to turn to it. That's called the rooting reflex. A newborn is born with that. It is an instinct that human babies are born with to get nutrition. That's near my mouth. I need nutrition. Put it in my mouth so I can get the nutrition. That's the way it works. Then the child grows up and they learn to eat and drink. And they don't have to worry so much about how they're going to get the nutrition and hydration, right? Because they can do it themselves. Now they're a toddler. They can walk up and take that cracker off of your plate and eat it because now it's theirs. And that rooting reflex goes away. The brain integrates. That's not the word. Oh, what's the word I want? There's a word. Anyway, it goes away. And because the brain doesn't need to keep that process anymore. The brain doesn't need to go, ooh, something touched my cheek, I have to turn. So that neuronal pathway goes away. I think it is integrates. But there's other ones too, like the, of course, now I can't think of them, but there are reflexes that we are born with that go away that we don't as adults do. And, oh, the other one is grasping. If you put your finger in a little baby's hand, it'll wrap around. And don't tell the dad in the labor room or the co-parent in the labor room that the baby doesn't know who you are. The janitor could put their finger in and they would do it too. Don't tell them that in the moment, but it's just true. It's just called grasping. But generally, if someone touches the palm of your hand, you're going, excuse me, did you wash your hands first? You're not grasping their finger just out of instinct, right? So these things go away. And children, I would be hard pressed to find someone who would argue that children are not born to play, right? Usually we see the children, they are playing. That's what's happening. And we think, well, the child is growing up. They don't need to play anymore. We are serious adults with things to do and work to get done. So we don't need play anymore, but it's not true. We stop playing not because we get older, but because society has told us to. And we get older because we stop playing. When you think about the wonderful elders in your life, the elderly people, and you think about the people who are telling you stories, or maybe it's your grandmother who's just the sweetest and she's 90 and she's still kicking, probably a pretty playful person. If you really start to think about those people in your lives, it shows. It really, really stands out. So play is essential across our entire lifespan. It's just so important. I just made a screen really big and lost the screen that I needed. Hold please, everyone. Okay, can you still see what you're supposed to see, Jesse?
We see
Still essential. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It is an extra. It is essential. Does anyone have any questions? That was a bunch of neuroscience. Oh, blamma, blamma. No? Y'all are amazing. I'm not good of a teacher. I'm just kidding. Totally joking. Actually,
I
someone.
do.
Yes, please.
So, okay. So I'm going to make this specific, and I apologize. I did miss some of it because I actually, it's a school day, so I had to work a little bit in between. So with all this, when you bring it in to work, like for instance, I'm going to be working with a bunch of physicians who they are burnout, in love themselves, and everything equal, and my dog agrees, everything equal, in a vacuum. They know what all these, the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin things. What's the best way, would you say, to use all this to get their egos out of the way?
So you are in potentially a more difficult situation because the reason, hold on, I'm going to breathe for a second and not try to answer before my answer's ready. That's a thing that you're supposed to do, right?
This is, I'm testing it.
You are. No, it's just my ADHD. So for those of you that are neurotypical and have maybe sat in a meeting with someone blabbering like that, that's what it is. I have too many ideas in my head. The ADHD runs rampant and I want to say them all at once. And that's not, you just got to take a breath. But you all are giving me space and time to do that. And I appreciate that. And I feel seen and appreciated. So Rona, going in as an external facilitator is a difficult situation because your hand can't dig around in the system to start with, right? So you're not able to come at it where you've already built the psychologically safe team and they understand their mission. Although physicians, I think generally probably pretty, like their mission might be a little more obvious than maybe a software coder, but you can lose sight of it, right? Nicole, so Rona and Nicole, I would like you guys to connect later about this. So you have to, or what I do, you don't have to do anything. That's not what I meant to say.
Right.
You could try creating a situation where you put them in an environment that prompts it for them. So it might take a little extra time and you might have to start with something that you wouldn't normally start with, but creating an environment where they get to experience feeling safe, trusting, even if it's just in that small group, right?
Yeah,
so
there's about 250 of them. It's not a tiny group, but it's small
it's
enough.
not.
And so I mean, it's that's why I was thinking, do you remember at Playposium? That's where AC and I met. We did the Rochambeau, world's biggest fan.
Yep.
Something like that, where you bring back the humanity and take away the PhDs and the medical doctor stuff.
Yes.
And just
You're just a person and so is the person next to you. And for those of you that don't, Rochambeau is rock, paper, scissors. I only learned that other name like 3 years ago. So yeah, rock, paper, scissors if you're going to use competition, that's one, because it's not a skill. Like I know people out there think that they're like, I am the best at rock, paper, scissors. You can't be. You literally can't be. Even if you win the whole thing, it doesn't actually mean you're better than anyone. So that's a nice way to incorporate something with a little bit of competition without the concern for I'm not good enough or ego being inflated. Right.
Which and then you're featuring failure and low stakes.
Yes. Low stakes. Low stakes. Low stakes. Let's get it tattooed. Low stakes, everyone.
Low stakes, right?
So the play, when we bring in any activity that's even remotely playful, presenting something that is low stakes, we get those doses as an individual, as a team of those neurochemicals that we talked about. We start to experience those benefits. and our brain gets used to it. So if we can think of play as a practice, so you think about mindful breathing, right? Meditation. Some of us might practice that. And we realize, yes, on purpose, I took longer breaths and I took some deep breaths in a moment for no reason. It didn't really matter. And then you do this over time and you realize that one day you were in traffic and you got cut off and you didn't flip them off. You just took a deep breath and you didn't even have to think about it. But it's because you practice it. So what our brain does in low stakes situations will translate into these higher stakes situations, because the amygdala of our brain doesn't know the difference. It's like that concept of when you get that text at 6 a.m. in the morning and it's your boss, can we talk in an hour? Right? The part of your brain that controls fear is literally acting as if a tiger is chasing you. Right? It doesn't know the difference. So when we practice these things in low stakes situations, and when we fail at Rochambeau, like we did not win the rock, paper, scissors bout, big whoop. Your brain's like, hey, you didn't win and you didn't seem to care and nobody else cares either. And we're like cheering and happy. And then as we practice failure, you're building something with Lego and it falls over, or you forgot the one leaf in between those other pieces. Now you have to go back. Oh, well, you took them apart and try it again. And your brain goes, oh, okay, this is normal. This is stuff that we can handle, that we can deal with. Right? So we just practice that over time. Did we get an answer to your question?
Yeah. There is, and just, can I ask a question? Can I, I've done some, has anyone ever done the pairing and drawing each other's portrait in a minute? Yeah,
I've seen
and
it.
That's the adult
That's
mind
awesome.
versus the child mind and stuff. Yeah, that's another one I'm thinking about doing with them, because I will catch them and they're gonna go, rats, oh, I did. So I'm just wondering if I'm on the right track with them, and obviously I am. So I
think so.
appreciate I just needed a confirmation. So
Yeah.
thanks, Ace.
I got you. Jesse, have there been any? I thought I saw a question in the chat. Maybe a little bit back. If somebody wrote one, will you drop it again, please, or just say it out loud if you want to? I feel like
was
anybody? Somebody did. I'm sure. I'm gonna find it. Everybody draw a note. Here we go. Oh no. Tala asked, how would you bring this approach to a skeptical C-suite who understands the nature of the issue to be dire, but prefer a more direct and less unconventional problem-solving tactic? Was that during the reverse brainstorming activity, I think?
Yeah, because
that's
absenteeism is obviously like a huge piece. And so I was just like, obviously I'm based in the Middle East, and I could just imagine if I took that approach to a group of C-suite, they would look at me like I'm a little bit loony. So I'd love to know, like, what do you bring to persuade anybody who's skeptical, and how would you influence them to think otherwise?
So when I do work with teams, when I started doing this work, I got a lot of, will you come do this team building activity? Will you lead trivia? Will you do one of your fun ideas for my team? And I would say no, because of that reason. Forced fun is never fun. And if we don't understand why we're doing something, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be their favorite activity, but we're introducing it in the middle of work, in the middle of a meeting, and they're going, oh, what are you doing? So again, how possible is this? It depends on your situation for sure, but leading with the education about the neuroscience is crucial. And that could be shared in an article or a podcast or something, maybe that they can read, or just like, I don't know, throw together a quick slide deck, maybe we Loom it or something. But the education of the why behind it is unfortunately really important. So that's why we see a lot of teams do great with these, everybody sign on for cooking class, right? Like sometimes that's very successful for a team, and everyone does happen to enjoy it. Or whatever, the escape room is the only example coming to mind, and I hate them. So it's not a great example, but generally things that all people, you just like, they're going to love this, right? This is something that they're really going to enjoy. See, Jesse says, go, right. But they could go really well. Whatever it is that you did, you all went bowling. I don't know, whatever the thing was, you took a Segway tour on your offsite in Chicago, and everybody came back and was like, that was really cool. Thanks for doing that. And then they went off their separate ways, right? We don't know why that, when you're on an offsite, you just think, well, that's just a break. You're supposed to have breaks at an offsite or something. When we're throwing things in without the meaning, there will be people who hate it. And they're not necessarily going to tell you to their face, but that's going to be potentially the beginning or like the last straw for disengagement and potentially leaving the company. And that there's also no impact from it. So there's no long-term, like, yes, that was fantastic. Now we're all going back to exactly what we were before, right? So if we're not being intentional about how we bring it forth first, then that there will be a barrier. I will also say we live in a world where some people won't even care about the neuroscience. They're going to stand by the last 120 years of business processes. And this is the way we've always done it. And this is how it will be done. And that's unfortunate. But I think a lot of time when we can lead with the why, it will get people on board to at least try it in different things. Potentially. And I'm seeing someone in the chat, and I know who she is. And she's a dear friend. But a fun fact. Hey friends, my fun fact is that I hate fun facts. I have a t-shirt that says that. I made it. Yeah, so just knowing that what usually works, just because another team did it does not mean it's going to work for your team. So another big piece of this comes into, having conversations and transparency, asking people questions, listening when they answer. That's always a shocking thing to do, isn't it? Yeah, these are wonderful questions. And Tal, I'd love to brainstorm specifically for your situation more as well. How to get those kinds of groups on board. Those are great icebreaker ideas, Becky. I have a list of what I call non-cringy connection questions. It's on my website. Yeah, a boring fact that always gets people going, oh, I am a little boring, and that's okay. And then it's usually interesting. Actually, there's usually some little tie, and you're like, if you ask one more question, it becomes fascinating. Oh yeah, Cara Priya has a series right now on Instagram where she's going through the different magic questions. I like those. Awesome. Rona likes warm up. I follow a guy named Jan. He calls them ice melters because he also agrees that icebreakers are harsh, right? Fantastic. Well, friends, play is not extra. I have another slide for us. And good news, it has Dolly Parton on it. I don't know Dolly Parton. I've never met her, which is sad to me, but I like to think that she would enjoy this activity. So I will invite you to participate. You may feel free. Some of you do still have your camera on. This might be a situation where you want to turn your camera off, and that's okay, or vice versa, right? Like maybe try to join us and turn your camera on if you can, but you are you do you. So we're going to copy Dolly here. We're going to hold up a peace sign on one hand and an okay sign on the other. Can you see my fingers? Okay. And then we're going to take a deep breath. Oh, we're getting some reactions for Jesse and Ted the balloons. And you're going to switch hands. So the peace sign will go on the other hand, and the 3 fingers will go to the other one. Now, don't maybe look at other people's squares because they might accidentally flip you off. Because if you start to go really fast over time, this should be hard. By the way, if you've never done this before, I do this all the time. I almost flipped you all off. Just straight up on camera. That one middle finger, it just really likes to stay up. So this is an example, just like our scribble birds, of a very simple activity that you can do. It takes 3 seconds, right? 3 to 5 to 10 seconds. These are not full breaks. You don't, I might recommend standing up while you do it, but you don't even have to. And you won't get sweaty, right? And you don't have to pull out supplies. These are things that you can do in the moment that will add a piece of playfulness to your day that can re-trigger your brain for focus, for motivation, for your mood, for attention, to get you back into a space where you're cool to implement some of those ideas that we talked about earlier. Nicole, you're hilarious. Amy, when I first, if ever reading Amy's comment in the chat, Amy said, I'm assuming she's, oh yeah, follow me for other fun ideas. Please sing your favorite song in front of the group. When I first started doing this work, friends, and I started researching who's talking about this, who's out there saying what to do to make work more fun, I found an article that recommended that very thing. And not only did it recommend that you should have people sing in front of their coworkers at a meeting, it was a punishment. The article was about how to ensure that people won't be late to meetings. And the number one tip was to make anyone that's late sing a song. And I closed that article so fast because I wanted them to have no more website traffic. Like, what? What? No, don't do that to people. Literally ever. That would be awful. Even if they're a good singer. Like, that's just, anyway. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that one, Amy. How many times do you think purple is? This actually sounds like a question that I would ask. When people do those, how are you feeling? That one, which I enjoy. I like that one. I think that's important, but I think you have to offer a feelings wheel. Otherwise, you're going to get great, tired, happy, ready, right? So give a feelings wheel, because one time I was in a meeting and I was not asking the question. I was asked the question and I said Merple. That's not a word. It's not a word. So just thinking about providing your people with the things that they need. Sarah, yes, actually that same article that recommended that people sing if they're late also said you could have them do push-ups in the conference room if they're late. No, just no. Please no. Everybody no. Thank you. This is my contact information. I love connecting. I don't know if that's obvious by me volunteering to lead a chapter of the Culture First community, and for a while volunteering to lead the help moderate the People Geeks community, and now being alongside Jesse leading it. I like to connect. So let's connect about connection or whatever. This QR code is the Culture First feedback form. It's not mine. So this is what Jesse sometimes sends in an email if you've been to these events before. She also just dropped a link in the chat. Ooh, Jesse, will you also get the People Geeks link? I meant to do that before. Thank you. And we highly, highly recommend that you join our People Geek Slack, because you are virtual people, right? So I know you're comfortable with that. Join us in the Slack. There's some really great conversations going on. And also for the rest of you that are first timers here with a Culture First event, see if there's a local chapter in your area. How many chapters do we have now, Jesse?
There's 100 chapters.
100. You have 100 options to see people like us who care about this kind of thing, that are co-creating the future of work. You can be a part of that. Be alongside them. Salt Lake City chapter. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. So they are there. Do you see them? We can also send them later, or just ask me on LinkedIn and I will send it to you. Absolutely. So I'll leave this on here for like one more second for everybody to get the links, but they are also in the chat. And then Allison, where do you live? Oh, I just called her out. I didn't mean to do that, but this makes me sad. I'm like, oh no, there's no one where you live. What can we do?
We have topic-based chapters too.
Also that. Oh yeah. Yes. So still cruise the chapters website. What are they now? There's some really cool ones.
Yeah.
There's a creativity one, right?
Yeah, there's a creative well-being chapter. Culture First works for folks that are looking for their next role in the people and culture space. The global trauma chapter, the mental health and neurodiversity chapter, psychedelics at work is one that we're about to launch. So there's a whole bunch of topic-based chapters that you can check out and join us.
Okay, so to close today, I would love to hear, let's do a chat waterfall. Are you guys familiar with the chat waterfall thing? So you're going to type it in and not hit enter. And I'm going to say not hit enter again, because I would be talking, I would need to hear that, because it's so easy to just type and your pinky just goes enter. That's the way it happens when you're typing in a Zoom chat. So if you hit enter, it's okay. You will be starting our waterfall. That's fine. But I want you to take a moment, think about what's one thing you're taking with you today. It can be how you're feeling. It can be, although I'm not giving you a feelings wheel, I'm just calling myself out there. It can be something you learned. It can be somebody new that you talked to, just whatever you're taking with you as you leave this time together. So take a moment and think about that. Type it in the chat. Don't send it yet. Again, this is what I need someone to say to me. And while you're thinking of that, I just want to say thank you for this space. This is probably, obviously, my favorite thing to talk about. I'm obsessed with this topic, and being given this sort of platform is like, I mean, I just can't even express it. Like the kind of honor and gratitude that I feel for like staring at this circle that is then the rest of you in the world. It's just, it's really, really, really cool. And I wanted to say thank you. And I hope that you all like feel my gratitude, because I do. It's intense. Okay, we got one in the chat already. Allison started us. That would be me, I promise. So if you've got something written, Jesse, you want to do a countdown? 3, 2, 1, and we will just everyone just take them all in.
Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Enter.
Now I just want to read them. Jesse, will this save with
Yeah,
our
we can save the
recording?
chat.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
Reverse. Everybody loves the reverse brainstorming. It is so fun. You could do it for anything. You could do it for like a home problem, like with your family. Getting a kid involved is kind of hilarious. Fantastic. I love this. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yay. Can we stop sharing screen so we can see you?
Oh,
Ace?
yeah.
Actually, I think I did it. All right. I love it. Can we give AC a little love with a little reaction? You can come off mute and give a woo. We can give Rona,
Okay.
I don't know, jazz hands. So we're calling.
Somebody said it out loud. That was even better.
Oh. Well,
Thanks,
thank you all so much for being here. Like AC said, join us in People Geek Slack to keep the convo going if a digital forum's your thing. Check out the other chapters that we have going that are around the world. Let me know if anyone's going to transform. Our Culture First community is going to transform in March and going to do some
Raise
stuff
of hands.
together. So if anyone's
Anybody?
going to that. And I think that's it for now. Stay tuned on upcoming global chapter events, but it was great to see so many familiar faces, and welcome to the new folks. I learned a new little trick recently about, normally we do this thing called a Culture First clap out where we're like 1, 2, 3, and then we all clap and the Zoom meeting starts out. But instead today we're going to blow out the candles on this metaphorical fire that we have today. And so what's going to happen is that AC is going to count us to 3, and then we're all going to like pretend like our Zoom camera is a candle. And so we'll go into the camera, and then this Zoom meeting will have concluded. So everyone understands what's about to happen? Fantastic.
I love this.
So thank you all for being here. Cheers to co-creating a better world of work. AC, thank you again for collaborating with us, bringing us your time, your talent, and your energy. We appreciate you. Will you count us to 3, and we're all gonna blow out our candles together.
1, 2, 3.